Welcome back to the channel, everybody. As expected, we're seeing some changes at the Magic Kingdom now that construction has begun on Big Thunder Mountain Railroad to make way for the park's new Cars attractions and ultimately Villains Land. But it looks like there could be another change on the way, and one that I confess I did not expect. So Blog Mickey just broke this story, so all credit to them for this one. But I'm going to break down what they reported on, then give some additional evidence, offer my take, and raise a few questions. So here's the story. Around late July or early August 2023, the Frontierland sign that separates the land from Liberty Square and which hung by that DVC kiosk disappeared. That itself isn't too unusual. A paint job or refurb was what most expected. But the thing is, it's never returned, even after Tiana's Bayou Adventure opened and even after D23. While weird, this stuff happens. Details and elements around Disney disappear all the time and then suddenly reappear years later when they seemingly get around to it. You just never know. But here's where it gets weirder. Last week, the other main Frontierland sign, the one that hung between Adventureland and Frontierland, was also removed. And this one really got fan attention. In fact, the internet is lighting up as we speak with speculation about Frontierland, especially since all eyes are on this land anyway. Now, as I previously mentioned, Big Thunder just went down for its year-plus refurbishment. A crane has been on site for a while, and it was moving huge sections of track mere hours after the ride closed. Also, Disney has already added a new spiel about Big Thunder's construction to the Walt Disney World Railroad, hinting at the attraction's lengthy refurb and describing the new bells and whistles coming for the ride. I'll put that in here if I can find it.
There it is, Big Thunder Mountain. Now, normally, folks around here have a one-track line for gold, but mining seems to have been derailed. They've been working on that railroad all the livelong day. I bet they'll be full steam ahead in no time. Hopefully with some new bells and whistles.
But back to the Frontierland sign. Its removal, on top of the fact that the other is still missing, has raised the question of whether Disney isn't just replacing Rivers of America, but if we're getting a full land makeover and potentially a new name for the land. While this is a big leap, I know I can't deny that in some ways it makes sense. Leading up to the opening of Tiana's Bayou Adventure, one of the biggest complaints with that attraction is that it doesn't necessarily belong in Frontierland, or at least this corner of Frontierland, because when you're walking from Liberty Square to the end of Frontierland, that whole length of space is designed to be geographically accurate and as if you're moving westward through time. For instance, Liberty Square is meant to lead into St. Louis, which is the gateway to the west, and which is represented by the Diamond Horseshoe because it's inspired by St. Louis architectural design, as well as nods to Mark Twain's Tom Sawyer, which also takes place in Missouri. In fact, where the Frontierland sign originally hung and where that DVC kiosk still is on a little bridge, and there is a stream that begins on one side that flows under the pathway and then empties into the Rivers of America. Imagineers put this little water feature here to literally represent the Mississippi River and guests crossing from the east into the western part of the United States. From there, you may notice that the log storefronts progressively change their color and material to that of sandstone and wooden planks, symbolizing the journey west, because the further you move west, the less wood there is for, let's say, a log cabin. And the surroundings change from more of a frontier Davy Crockett-like surrounding to an Old West mining town, with Frontierland eventually ending with Big Thunder Mountain Railroad's gold mine, which is inspired by Arizona's Monument Valley. Now, in all fairness, Disney World Splash Mountain didn't exactly fit into this geographically accurate story either, but the mountain itself was intentionally painted to match the Southwest color palette. That was something Tiana's Bayou Adventure did not bother to do. And since it's clearly set in New Orleans, the Frontierland's Westward Journey storyline was kind of lost, as it was believed Disney just didn't care as much about that as they were redoing Splash. But in light of Frontierland signs being removed, maybe, just maybe, Imagineers didn't bother with the land's geographical theme anymore because Disney always intended to rename and rework this land. So in doing some research on this, again, I confess there's evidence for it. First of all, snow-topped mountains and what looks like streams and waterfalls are coming to the Magic Kingdom, meaning another change in the park's thematic geography. And with this new terrain, we're getting 2 new Cars attractions that aren't set back in the past, but in a period that is present day. And that actually follows a trend we've already seen, as the Country Bear musical jamboree is also set in the present day, as evidenced by its modern songs and Grand Ole Opry inspirations. I have to wonder if broadening Frontierland's geography and updating its timeline is intended to allow for more Disney characters and IP. In a past video, I talked about how I think Disney's new DVC resort, Lakeshore Lodge, is likely to have ties to this new Frontierland. And now I think it's possible that characters represented at that resort, like Pocahontas and Bambi and Brother Bear, may find more of a place in this new Frontierland than it currently does. But more on that resort in a minute. Secondly, the changes to Frontierland's rows of shops and restaurants don't appear to be ending with just the redo of the Frontierland Shootin' Arcade being transformed into a lounge. New permits that surfaced on the internet just days ago suggest changes are coming to the Frontierland trading post as well, and to what extent remains to be seen. And then there were teases from around this time last year about changes to Frontierland, including this little tag in a Disney Parks blog post about Frontierland which read, "But hold your horses, we're not done yet. We have a lot of growth and investment planned for our theme parks in the coming years and look forward to sharing more announcements about Frontierland, so you all come back now." I think we all thought Disney was referring to the Cars attractions with this post, but maybe not. Maybe more announcements about Frontierland are still on the way, especially since the Frontierland sign disappeared even before this blog post was posted and had nothing to do with the Cars attractions to come. Lastly, Disneyland has already changed the name of one of its theme park lands that butted up against Tiana's Bayou Adventure. So is the Magic Kingdom next? Honestly, I can't help but think that some of these past events, coupled with Frontierland's now mysterious missing signs, are suspicious, and it's something for theme park fans to keep on their radar, especially as construction continues to ramp up in this corner of the park. The only reason I'm hesitant to fully lean into the possibility of a name change is due to a certain D23 announcement. It was here that Disney referred to the location of the replacement of Tom Sawyer Island with Cars attractions as, and I quote, a reimagined section of Frontierland. But again, that itself is confusing because they are now seemingly reimagining more than one section, such as in the case of the DVC Lounge, the missing signs, the changes to the Frontierland storefronts, and Country Bears. So I don't know, guys, but I'm absolutely going to be keeping my eye on this to see if anything else develops, or in the event we get another shocker of a Disney Parks blog announcement in the coming weeks. But for the sake of speculation, let's just for the moment say this is happening, that the Frontierland and Magic Kingdom that we know is on its way out. What then will Disney call this corner of the park, or what will its new theme be? If changes are in store, I think something involving the American West as a name is a contender, as is a theme that leans heavy into nature. And that's because, in announcing the Cars attractions, Disney Parks Chairman Josh D'Amaro referred to the Frontierland as the American West. Therefore, there isn't exactly a timeline attached to that. American West can mean modern and it can mean in the past. It's ambiguous. And as for that nature focus, Disney has really been leaning into environmentalism and preservation for quite some time, and they now own National Geographic, so having a nature-centric land could take center stage in this Frontierland. And like I mentioned earlier, Disney's Lakeshore Lodge Resort is supposedly still themed around nature, and it opens in 2027, which is also what I've heard is Disney's goal for these Cars rides. So we'll see. Again, a possible name change and a thematic overhaul of Frontierland was not on my radar, but that has completely changed. I'm definitely going to be on sign watch, and I'm way curious about the new Frontierland construction permits and how Disney is planning to blend these Cars attractions and this new mountain into what the land currently offers, and if a rebrand is what Imagineering truly has in mind. I would love to know if you too think a new Frontierland is a possibility and what you think Disney would be considering as a new name for this land. Also, a little heads up, I am researching another story about Frontierland, Big Thunder Mountain, and even Haunted Mansion. That's actually what I was doing when I came across this news. So please stay tuned for that one. This corner of the Magic Kingdom is going to be under the microscope for quite some time. But regardless, thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate it, and I hope you have a magical day.